October 25th, 1987. Eagles coach Buddy Ryan is about to call the meanest play the NFL has ever seen, and Randall Cunningham is about to execute it. It will be beyond unsportsmanlike. It will be an act of hatred, a righteous instrument of revenge. And the Cowboys will deserve every bit of it.
Okay, all you fucking wrestling stands, shut the fuck up. This is actually a successful... Wait, isn't this a unionization effort? Like, isn't this an NFL Players Union? You blue-balled us? Oh my god, wrestling fans are fucking unbearable, dude. We will watch it after, okay? Shut the fuck up. You fucking little babies. We'll get back to your fucking dumb soap opera in a second. I love it too. Unfucking bearable.
Most tales of vengeance sprawl across years, even decades. This one is compressed into a few short weeks of chaos. It begins in the...
Take an hour off. When you come back in an hour, we'll be watching that other video. I will literally fucking ban you for... I'll ban you permanently if you come back and you do that kind of dumb shit in here again.
Early hours of September 22nd, 1987, when the NFL's players officially go on strike. Work stoppages are a recurring feature of the NFL. The NFLPA says we're almost certainly headed for another one in 2021. The 2011 lockout narrowly missed eating into the regular season. The 87 strike was actually the fifth strike in a 20-year span. Players wanted things. Strikes were how they tried to get them. Now, unions tend to divide people. No union is perfect, and like any sizable gathering of any people, they're occasionally corrupt and they've got problems. But generally speaking, public opinion of unions falls into two main camps, right? If you're in the first camp, then you believe that workers deserve some kind of leverage against their employers. They make society work, and therefore they should have special things. They should be able to demand pensions, health care, fair pay, that kind of thing. If you're in the second camp, you're an asshole. NFL fans sided with ownership 3-1, and while I disagree with them, I do kind of get it. The average NFL salary in 1987...
That was awesome. This is John Bois. For those of you who don't know, the uninitiated. It's John Boys. Who actually co-wrote the documentary with Felix. Cool Guy Sports. You dudes need to get involved in sports or something, man. This shit's weird and not healthy. Donald Trump more like Donald Dumb, pretending that racism is the reason Trump is so popular is ignorant, guaranteed way to undermine any real future DNC success. Adios to cultural appropriation. This is 1000% like one of those. It was just the stutter guys. What about Trump? This is 100%. This guy is like one of those fucking weirdo leftist dudes. Okay, like one of those like weird ass fucking leftist dudes who's like, I'm a working class guy, and you know you guys fucking love talking about Donald Trump, lol, like irony poisoned Twitter poster in here. Hasan, really unique and funny political opinions. Just wanted to type that out to see what it felt like. Well, guess what, dude? Now you got fucked, Cool Guy Sports.
Six was $200,000. No one else who strikes makes that kind of money. It was 8 times.
Like, imagine coming in here and fucking crying when I'm watching sports. I'm literally watching
the average American salary at the time. What's important to remember, though, is that while that worker can probably stay in that line of work for decades, the average NFL career is only 4 years long. He has to go find a second career and start over. A few players might find that in broadcasting, product endorsements, coaching, something like that. The rank and file probably won't. Meanwhile, they're recovering from a brutal career. Football is organized human wreckage that often leaves its players with long-term health issues. Healthcare isn't optional for them. They need it. They also want pensions in the interest of long-term security. In 1987, the players try to negotiate these things, among others, but the owners aren't interested. In striking, the players utilize the only real leverage they have left. So the Players Association goes to work building their coalition. They have to remain unified if they're going to get what they want. They aren't simply after barrels of money. They're fighting for their future.
We'll provide you with a daily pat on the back or kick in the backside to keep you moving toward your goals.
I used to work at Radio Shack. It was a crappy job. Would have been less crappy if, we had a union. But we did get one perk. Every store was hooked up with NFL Sunday Ticket. One Sunday, some guy wanders in from the mall and he's like, "Can I just come in here and watch with you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So we're talking for a few minutes, and eventually he tells me that he spent the last couple of years as a kicker in the NFL. I later looked this up and verified it was him. He said he wanted to make it back into the league, but he was probably done. He missed a couple short field goals, and that was it for his whole career. I think I accidentally internalized this idea that if you were ever an NFL player, that you had just made it, that you were good, you achieved your lifelong dream, and everything was cake from here on out. Meanwhile, this guy walks into my store months after having kicked in front of millions of people. He's just standing there watching with me, just a dude.
DirecTV NFL Sunday Ticket Sweepstakes for your chance to win a trip for two to meet Arizona Cardinals quarterback Jake Plummer.
In 1982, the players strike.
I get why Republican employers hate unions, but why did Republican working class hate them? Just dumb. Dude, there are Republican working class people that don't want to take a free vaccine because they think that it's going to kill them or make them infertile. And that's precisely why they want to take ivermectin instead. And then they can't get the ivermectin from their doctors, so they get it from the fucking feed store. Are you really asking me a question as to why Republican reactionary conservative fucking workers advocate against their best interests in the form of like unionization? They're fucking stupid, dude. They're stupid and they're brainwashed. And I'm sorry, it doesn't matter if you're a liberal or a Republican or anything. Okay? You are advocating against your best interest when you advocate against unionization.
Wiped out almost half the regular season. The owners lost a ton of money and they don't want it to happen again. This time around, they're out to bust up this union as quickly as they can, so they do something that's...
Yeah, and they also fucking believe that like unions will... There's so much propaganda against unions that like... First of all, here, number one, they make it seem like the union is comprised of outside individuals. The workplace is a family, but the union, they're outside guys. Okay, two, there are some rules and regulations around this, but they still fucking, lie about it. They make it seem like the business will be impossible to run with a union coming from the outside. Okay, we might actually have to, we might go away. We might no longer be a profitable business. Okay. Then they also mass surveil the leadership, the people that actually engage in the unionization effort and, threaten them and do everything they can. And then inevitably do fire them if the unionization effort doesn't go through. Yeah, they just say it's a scam. They say it's going to take a piece of your fucking... it's going to take money out of your pocket in union dues. They say it's a corrupt government-like system. The government's corrupt. You don't want the government, and you don't want the union to come in here and like fuck shit up. We have a good thing going. We're family. Then they say, we're going to actually help you out instead. We're going to hear you. We're going to hear you out. We'll give you some benefits, which they will immediately take away because you have no protection. You have no protection. Without a union, you just have no protection. They can do whatever the fuck they want, and they continue to do that. And then you get fired for no reason.
It's never been done. They hire replacement players. They round up whoever they can get. Old college guys, players they can pry away from the CFL, Suge Knight. Yeah, there he is, defensive end, 1987 Rams.
What?
Suge Knight. The NFL cancels week 3 while it gets its replacement teams ready to play, and then it trots out those replacement teams in week 4. They suck. They usually don't even suck in an entertaining way. With almost no time to introduce players to their systems, coaches have to drastically simplify their playbooks.
This is one of the beautiful parts about the NFL and the NBA and areas where there is still like more of a meritocracy. It's the closest you can get to a meritocracy as any, like within any of our many industries, right? And the thing is, that's why, like, these guys are not replaceable. Totally wrong, says Socialism Now. Dude, are you fucking stupid? NFL athletes are absolutely, like, the closest to a fucking meritocracy in this, on this planet, or in this country at least. It's the closest thing we've ever had. And if your dumbass argument is going to be fucking healthier diets for richer kids and better fucking training programs for richer kids, yeah, no shit. I recognize that. Except because of the accelerated profit motive, we have like insane scouting programs, dude. Directly competitive sports by definition are meritocratic. Yes, it is the closest thing we will ever have to a real meritocracy. Good luck finding a guy running a 4.4 at 6'5 at 250. Yeah, this just like, it's so stupid. It's so fucking stupid. No, I'm going to do WWE Reacts in a little bit. We're going to go back to it. All right, Socialism Now. Does he have anything, or I want to hear it?
It just isn't very interesting or fun to watch.
No, dude, people literally pick up poor, talented kids from impoverished areas and put them in places with better resources so their talents can be utilized. Yeah, that's my fucking point, you idiot. That's literally the point. That's the point. You're proving the point. That's what I'm saying. I just said that. I said that before you typed that. Why did chatters do this, dude? It's my least favorite thing chatters do is like say the same thing that I'm saying, but imply it in a contentious manner as though they are the ones who are bringing it up.
Watch, and the fans know it. Attendance craters. Thousands of tickets are refunded. TV ratings sink, and networks are trying to get out of their contracts. Fielding replacement players allows the NFL to keep the lights on and generate at least some revenue, but it also does something far more insidious. It challenges the structural integrity of the Players Association. In previous strikes, the players were a unified front. Either all of them played, or...
Anyway, the point I was going to make is that because NBA, NFL, and like these sorts of organized sports are truly like the closest we can ever get to a meritocratic design, that their unions actually do hold a tremendous amount of power, because even if you literally fucking pad the decks with a bunch of scabs, you're not going to replace it. Like, it's irreplaceable. The Writers Guild had a similar situation, and there was a massive like writer strike a while ago, I forget, but the inception of that strike actually led to reality television blowing the fuck up. Because there was just nothing. Like there was nothing. You can't, like, you know, even with artistic endeavors, like there are still always situations where, you know, you're not, even if it's subjective, you're not going to get the same oomph.
Or none of them played. There was no third option of some of them leaking across the picket line because there were no games to show up for. This time there are. Each player is free to betray.
Dude, I'm sorry, but if you literally think, look, you know, solidarity with all working class individuals, but like, if you literally think that, you know, finding scabs for a fucking factory work is the same as like getting scabs to play in the NFL, like you're out of your fucking mind. Like, I do think that workers deserve more, they deserve better pay, they deserve better benefits, But you're literally a fucking psycho if you are going to say that like LeBron James is replaceable talent. Like, you're delusional to a degree that I cannot comprehend. Like, I don't know what happened to you. And it's demonstrably false because the NFL tried it. Jesus fucking Christ.
His teammates and cross the line to take a paycheck. Some of them do. By day 9 of the strike, 40 players become scabs and rejoin their teams. But that's less than 3% of the Players Association. For the time being, they're holding strong. And no team is holding stronger than the Philadelphia Eagles. Throughout the strike, only 3 Eagles walk across the line, and all 3 are nursing injuries that require team resources. They do so with their teammates' blessing. This team is as unified as any in the NFL, and they have a very clear idea of what they want. They want pensions, they want severance pay, they want the freedom to play for any team they want. This is not Russia, says wideout Kenny Jackson. Linebacker Gary Cobb says that they had no choice but to strike, purely out of principle. That if they didn't strike, it would send the message that they would put up with anything. These guys are talking like revolutionaries. Same can't be said for Randall. Hey, remember Randall? This is a video about Randall. Randall Cunningham will go on to become one of the greatest dual-threat quarterbacks in NFL history. He'll eventually complete his evolution from the league's best running quarterback to, in 1998, its best passing quarterback. For now, he's a 24-year-old whose career is just getting going. He doesn't share the deep-seated convictions of his teammates. He's clearly annoyed. He wants to play. But unlike dozens of others across the league, he refuses. And he doesn't simply stay home. He throws on a sandwich board and shows up to the picket line.
Do you think sports haters consist of a lot of people who suck at sports? That would imply that sports lovers actually are good at sports, and you're fucking out of your mind. Okay, I know many sports lovers. None of them are good at sports. They're all fucking couch potatoes who fantasize about being good at sports, but would never actually do anything that is physical ever. So, no, I do think that. No, I mean, I think people that hate sports. I mean, I don't like organized sports. I love the fucking stories. I watch porn for the stories. I watch WWE for the stories. Well, I actually do appreciate like athletic feats, but it's the same with fucking sports. Like, it doesn't hit for me. It just does not. It will never hit for me. Organized sports is so boring for me to watch. I'm not gonna yuck anyone's yum. If they enjoy it, then that's great. You know, life is ultimately meaningless. You know, it's just an endless sequence of top of the hour ad breaks that are coming. You know what I mean? And then the Twitch streamer tells you that and then follows through by telling you how they can avoid the ads if they want to. And, you know, that you can subscribe for $4 because it's September. So it's September, so it's 20% off. Or you can subscribe for free with a Twitch Prime. Or if you don't want to fucking subscribe at all, you're like, fuck this guy, you know, then you can use an ad block or a VPN. But Twitch Prime is still free if you steal someone else's Amazon Prime account and connect it to your Twitch account. You know, that's what life is like sometimes. So yeah, ultimately, if you like sports, just watch it. Who cares?
Convictions may not be sophisticated, but they're unmistakable. Randall Cunningham stands with his teammates. That's his principle.
Look out! I'm coming on through. Randall Cunningham, quarterback. The guy everybody wants to say. Now you see me, now you don't. You think you will? No, you won't.
Oh my God. Okay. This is like... I mean, that's terrible, dude. What the fuck?
Tuesday, September 22nd, day 1 of the strike. The Eagles form a picket line outside Veterans Stadium, but no replacement players try to cross it. Ground support is offered by the Scab Buster, a Ford Bronco that's been modified by a couple of players. For now, it's ceremonial. It will soon hold.
Dude, that's so sick. That's fucking sick, dude. Yo, this never happens in America anymore. I feel like even when the players union in the NBA, like they said that they were gonna fucking strike for BLM, and Obama immediately called them up and was like, "Don't do it. If you like your basketball, you can keep it." Like, fuck me, dude. It was so dog shit. I mean, those big inflatable rats still exist. But I'm just saying, like, you know, fucking the players union doesn't do shit like that anymore, I feel like.
Tactical importance. Day 3. Busloads full of replacement players sneak into Veterans Stadium under cover of darkness. When the Eagles arrive to picket, they find out they've been given the slip and immediately plan countermeasures. They learn that the replacements are staying in a hotel in Mount Laurel nearby, so they shift the line. The Scabs return from practice to find the Eagles forming a human chain in front of the Hilton entrance. When the bus driver attempts to drive around them and enter through the exit, he's blocked by the Scab Buster. The Eagles refuse to move and eventually cause a traffic jam that backs up cars on I-295 for a mile. The police ultimately order the Eagles to stand aside, but they still aren't done. Hours later, a replacement player, A.J. Sebastianelli, orders a pizza. When the delivery guy enters the hotel and heads up to his room, Eagles running back Michael Haddix slips in behind him. He gives him a heart-to-heart. Haddix asks him, "Son, do you know what you're doing?" Sebastianelli thinks about it for a while, and then he leaves the team. He's one of 6 players who quit. The Eagles are not only holding strong, they're successfully talking guys into giving up their NFL dreams and respecting the picket. It's working. Day 7. After days of forming human chains, a judge orders a maximum of 4 picketers at a time. That's not enough to block a road, so the Eagles have to shift tactics again. They hold a bake sale. The money they raise will be used to buy plane tickets for Scabs who want to quit the team but don't have the money to fly home. The fans have returned more than 40,000 tickets for refunds in the last week. On October 4th, the 13th day of the strike.
Dude, that's so sick. America is a perfect place for a revolution to spark if only its people were class conscious. The American people are the lowest when it comes to class consciousness. Like, I cannot think of a group of individuals that... I mean, dude, even in the peak of fucking the Great Depression, okay, when there was opportunity ripe for class consciousness, we're talking like fucking communism, socialism, growing movements all around the world. There's like international support that you can get for the international class struggle. And even then, what's his face? Steinbeck famously said socialism will never, it was probably falsely attributed to him, but I still love it. It's like socialism will never work in the United States of America because the working class do not see themselves as an exploited proletariat, but instead temporarily embarrassed millionaires. Like, think about that. That was an environment in which, like, it was Richard Wright who said that. Okay, well, fucking everyone attributes it falsely to Steinbeck. Like, in an environment where we had similar levels of wealth inequality, as a matter of fact, we literally have the same levels of wealth inequality from that era. Right now. And also no, like, international movement, mobilization, alternative. Think about that. It's actually worse now. And also, there's no counterweight. There's no counterbalance.
The replacement Eagles are set to play their first game. The real Eagles plan to be there too. And the Teamsters pledge to picket alongside them. The courts hand down another ruling. On game day, strict picketing limits are set. Only 20 can picket at the main gate, 6 at the truck ramp on Pattinson Street, and 10 at every other gate. That's a maximum allowance of 86 picketers. According to police estimates, there are 1,500. 45 minutes before game time, the Teamsters bring in 36 tractor trailers and park them bumper to bumper next to the stadium. Traffic is strangled.
Dude, that's so sick. Fucking Teamsters, dude.
One car tries to make its way into the parking lot. More than 100 Teamsters swarm it, smashing its windshield in. The chaos sends fans into retreat. When this game was scheduled, it was expected to draw 60,000 people. Fewer than 5,000 make it into the stadium. Many of those who do are shoved, spat on, and pelted with eggs. This goes too far for at least some of the players' liking. The Eagles union rep, John Spagnola, asks the Teamsters to back off. "Don't take our cause and make it your cause," he begs. They yell back at him, "Don't show weakness."
Tastes great. Less filling. Tastes great. Less filling. Tastes great.
The NFL is being torn apart, here and everywhere. New York. Mark Gastineau, perhaps the most high-profile player to cross the picket line so far, is spat on and punched by his teammates on his way to practice. Kansas City. Chiefs players Dino Hackett and Paul Kaufman brandish unloaded shotguns outside Arrowhead Stadium. We're looking for scabs, they said. Linebacker Jack Del Rio accused...
Jesus fuck, dude. Yo, Philadelphia's nuts, dude. Actually fucking insane. Actually insane. That was Kansas? Oh, I thought it was Philadelphia. My bad.
Accuses Otis Taylor of crossing the picket line and assaults him. What Del Rio doesn't know is that
Oh,
Taylor,
it's
one of
Chief.
the Chiefs' all-time greatest players, works for the team as a scout and has been retired for 12 years.
Fuck those union cunts. What? Are you alright, buddy? You've been here for 5 months. You're saying fuck those union cunts? Like, what the fuck do you mean? It's called that's called labor militancy, dude. The fuck?
St. Louis. Pete Noga, whose dream was to play on the Cardinals with his older brother Nico, was cut by the team in August. He crosses the picket line in preparation for the only 3 NFL games he'll ever play, and he'll play them without Nico, who remains on strike. In what is hopefully only a cruel coincidence, the Cardinals take Nico's old number, 57, and assign it to Pete. He'll be wearing his brother's jersey. They don't speak to each other as Pete crosses the picket line. It's like backstabbing him, he says. But no team is more divided than the Cowboys. This isn't Philadelphia, this is Dallas. There just isn't much of a union culture down here. When fans cross the picket line to go to replacement games, they actually stop to ask the picketing players for autographs, not realizing they're undermining them just by showing up. They don't seem to understand what the strike is even about. But no one's doing more to divide the players than Cowboys owner Tex Schramm. Schramm is the most effective strike buster in the NFL. He's also the kind of man who will tell you that the World War II internment of Japanese Americans was cool and call you a commie SOB if you don't agree with him. His franchise quarterback reportedly owes more than $200,000 to various debtors. Schramm seems to know this because the Cowboys offer White a salary advance of $300,000 to cross the picket line and play during the strike. He does. So do others, including Randy White. His teammate, star running back Tony Dorsett, is furious. He gives White a new nickname, Captain Scab. He let us down as captain, he says. Word of this gets to Schramm, who writes Dorsett a letter. If you miss any games because of this strike,
It's kind of sad to think about, but like a lot of these dudes that, I'm gonna be honest with you, a lot of these dudes that fucking are still alive and haven't died yet are probably all like Trump supporters now too. You know what I mean? Just so many people that participated and benefited greatly from having stronger unions in this country are now like fucking QAnon Trump supporters that fucking think unions are actually communism. Herschel Walker is now running for Senate in Georgia as a Republican. They got theirs, so fuck anyone else. My grandpa was a union factory guy and voted red. Dude, the only thing that kept so many, like Western Pennsylvania, okay, Ohio, the only thing that kept a lot of these areas, even West Virginia, blue, well, there was 2 reasons in some of these areas, obviously fucking racism, but also unions. So when you fucking destroy unions, you destroy any sort of fucking labor organizing. Did I say Virginia again instead of West Virginia? I always fuck it up. I said Western PA and Ohio, and then West Virginia. So when you destroy unions, there's no longer any sort of like momentum. There's no vehicle to like get these hawks to recognize that, like, you know, this is how we have power. This is how we have power in the workplace, and this is how we have political power on top of that.
you also will be missing plenty of meals for the rest of your life. Schramm threatens to revoke $6 million in Dorsett's annuity payments. It's a price too steep for Dorsett to pay. Days after calling his teammate Captain Scab, a humiliated Dorsett becomes a scab himself and plays alongside him. Schramm is prying his players off the picket line with surgical precision. He knows how to hit his players right where it hurts. His reward is a team that's still mostly made up of replacement players and a handful of resentful superstars to lead them against their polar opposites, the Philadelphia Eagles. October 11th, day 20 of the strike. In a game too ugly to revisit in detail, the Cowboys thump an Eagles roster made up entirely.
This subhuman piece of shit literally told the player, here's what you have to understand. We're the ranchers and you're the cattle, and we can always get more cattle. Yeah, damn straight you can't, though. That's precisely why he tried his very best to pick the union apart by, paying as many people as he could to get scabs. Like, not that easy. It's not that fucking simple, is it?
Entirely of replacement players. Stars like White and Dorsett only played a couple of series, but their mere presence was an affront to the Eagles, who were getting clobbered as a reward for doing their part and remaining unified. Coach Buddy Ryan can only stand and watch an inept shadow of his team get embarrassed by its arch-rival. All along, Buddy has been privately supporting the strike. He's told his players, do what you need to do. He respects them, and they respect him. But he hates this. If every team were like the Eagles, the strike might have been effective, but too many teams were like the Cowboys. The union is eroding. By October 3rd, 86 players have left the union. 4 days later, the number was in the triple digits. By day 24 of the strike, 228 players, nearly 15% of the league, had crossed the picket line. Their only means of...
No one cares about unions unless it's for actors, athletes, or police. So basically, wealthy workers or entities that protect capital. Wait, that's what you got out of that? That's insane, dude. How could you ever compare the police union to the fucking athlete players union or actors unions, dude? That's terrible. Are you kidding me? Athletes are still fucking workers, okay? They might own capital outside of that. But like, no, the players union is profoundly important, in my opinion. Same with fucking actors unions, the SAG-AFTRA. Like, these are incredibly important unions because if they were to... No, police are class traders, okay? You could say police are workers too, but they're class traders. They work in the interest of capital. They break strikes. Athletes do not do that. The NFLPA is a terrible union. Dude, that is such a dumb fucking take because without the NFL Players Union or the Players Association, it would be significantly worse. You understand that, right? No matter what you say, there is not a single instance, with the exception of police unions, obviously, there's not a single instance where, like, the workers would be better off without the fucking union. No matter how corrupt a union might be, no matter how terrible a union might be, it's still the best possible way for workers to organize as a counterweight to the unfettered, uncontrollable amount of power that the capital owner has. You don't even watch football, so how would you know, lol? It doesn't matter. I don't need to watch football to know that fucking the NFL Players Union works. And without it, in its absence, the situation would be significantly worse. That's just how unions work, dude. That's how unions operate. And yes, I also do know that the NFL Players Association is nowhere near as good as the NBA union. I know that, yes. Watching football helps you understand the union's law? Yeah, totally. I know. That's why I have so many fucking football fans in here that are a big union supporters. That's why every football fan is a union supporter. I'd argue that the Kroger union is really bad. I made more money and didn't pay dues at a non-union grocery store. What? I can't speak on the Kroger union, but do you perhaps think that maybe the non-union grocery store was in a fucking better neighborhood? Like there's probably other underlying circumstances there. You know, do you really think that that's a good argument when even the presence of unionization, even if there aren't collective bargaining agreements that over-encompass the entirety of the labor force, like that is the case in France, don't you maybe think that there is at least empirical evidence that even the presence of unions increases, first of all, unionization increases your the average salary by 10%, but even when you're non-unionized, you still benefit from it because then other places like the other Kroger non-union grocery store you went to improve their salaries in an effort to make sure that you never unionize, but at least like still offer competitive wages. I think it's what is it, like 8% if you're not, it's like an 8% increase or like 4% increase if you're non-union, but the presence of union still improves you don't get the benefits, but you will still increase your wages.
Leverage was vanishing.
Wait, Kroger union sucks because Kroger, the grocery store, owns the union themselves and they have a no strike clause? The fuck? That's not a union. What the fuck? Union wages drive non-union wages. If it weren't for unions, we would all be slum puppies. I mean, most people are slum puppies regardless. Maybe because of the American labor force being only 11% unionized. Well, that's not a fucking union then. Whoever said that. Kroger. I did not know that. I did not know that there was it was like a company union. The SEIU Local 1000 for CA state workers is a no strike clause. One of the dumbest arguments I hear is that a union protects bad workers. They don't realize that bad is in the eye of the company or eye of the employer, and any worker can be subjected to be fired. Yes. The Postal Service has a no strike clause as well. Yeah, that makes sense. Like the one issue that is the one fucking service that does make sense. I guess, but yeah, air traffic controllers. Like there's certain industries where it does make sense. No union should have a no strike clause. Yeah, except if the Postal Service doesn't. If the Postal Service strikes, people die. So, like a lot of people die actually. Like, it's a little different. Using reactionary unions to further socialism was a big debate in the early 20th century circles.
The strike was over. The 1987 NFL players' strike enters history as an absolute failure. The players lost millions of dollars and received none of the things they wanted. After 3 replacement games, the Eagles and the rest of the Cowboys returned to the field to face each other again.
I guess they shouldn't have a no strike clause, to be honest. Now that I think about it, that just means more bargaining power.
It's a hard-fought game. The video yearbook of the 1987 Eagles, produced by NFL Films, captures Randall Cunningham.
Even when a union can't technically strike, they do slowdowns. Like, I hate to use this as an example because it's like not a real union, the police union. It's a fucking fake union. But, you know, they will do slowdowns, or AKA the blue flu. And when they actually end up doing slowdowns, for example, crime decreases. It's not even a joke. It's surreal. But, you know, that's a cool thing. How is it a fake union? Like, it's a fake union in the sense that, like, there's a fucking reason why it's the most powerful union in this country, dude. It's because they don't threaten the interests of capital. Unions, by the very definition of its existence, is a threat to capital, okay? It's literally there so that, you know, workers can organize and collectively bargain against capital, the capital owner, the boss, okay? It's a counterweight. Cops do not need such a thing. They just have it for the fun of having it, I guess. Like, they don't need it. They are literally the ones who fucking break the strikes. They are the strike breakers. There's a reason why cops are called class traitors. Because while they are still a part of the working class, they work against it and undermine the efforts of the working class. They have historically and still in contemporary society work against it. They're like the automatic scabs. Also, police unions are used to protect murderers. You know? Like I said, there's a reason why they are the only powerful union in this country, or the most powerful union in this country.
Ham's best gain on the ground. As with the strike, the line collapses around him. As with the strike, he holds firm. Days ago, these players were holding signs in parking lots. It's such an odd sight. A game in which everyone on the field has lost. But the Eagles' greatest play of the game, of the entire season, wasn't shown on this NFL Films production. It's just too hideous. It's too mean.
After those replacement games, we were kind of upset, but we hung together as a team, and it showed here today, and we're glad we got a coach like Buddy Ryan.
Congratulations again, Randall. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
So Philadelphia has put this one away. They lead 30-20 in the final minute of the game, and all that's left to do is take a knee. So they do on first down, and they do on second down. And if they're any other team, at any other time, they kneel on third down to end the game.
If the only punishment for a crime is a monetary one, then it is only a crime for the poor, and the enforcement of those crimes therefore makes all cops class traitors. Yes. If there's only a monetary fine for a crime, that means that it is exclusively a crime for the poor. That means that rich people can get away with doing it. You are correct. had Amanda Knox on? What the fuck? Okay, I'm gonna go back. We're gonna. He's just doing his fucking Adam Curtis shit right now, dude. John Boyce is on his Adam Curtis shit.
Dallas certainly will only improve that. Now Cunningham's going to throw it to Quick.
This is how you use play calling to flip the bird. It was an unmistakable gesture of contempt. Everyone on the field had already lost. The owners had broken them. Now there was nothing left for them to do but break each other. Remarkably, Cowboys cornerback Ron Francis has the awareness to break up the play. It probably helped that some of the Eagles, out of a sense of guilt, tipped off the Cowboys and let them know a pass was coming. But Randall Cunningham isn't sorry. Just weeks ago, he watched the Cowboys effectively burn his effigy on television. This is vengeance. Pass interference is called, but the point has been made. Everyone can go home. Right after they hit him, right in the mouth. After the game, Tex Schramm was furious beyond words, but a year later he said it bordered on being an ethical question. Tom Landry, who had coached the Cowboys for 28 years, said nothing. Not in the moment, not after the game, not ever. He left the field without a word. He had never seen anything like it, a fake kneel pass with an insurmountable lead in the last minute of a game. To this day, it's the only time it's ever been done in the NFL. This little victory was purely symbolic. That's the only victory to be found for the Eagles, a small victory nested within a grand failure. After all, the Cowboys would go on to win 3 Super Bowls, while the Eagles are still waiting for their first. But here's a small victory within it. Over the next 2 years, these two rosters had to pick up the pieces and play as a team. The Cowboys did this. The Eagles, who remained unified, did that.
If you like this video, please subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss out on any future videos.